So, Cassidy and Katarina Kha'Zix being banned out. Exactly the same bans on both teams here as well. Trinity and Leona and Ziggs. So, exact same as game one, if my memory serves me correct. Trevor gives me the thumbs up because he'd had it written down. And it does mean that the first pick, what will it be? Will they go for that Shyvana? It's been picked a couple of times. Or because it's SUPA HOT CREW, will they go for Vi?
So both of the teams valued the Shyvana and the Mundo as their first picks. And it was either or. And it is going to be basically a mirror. Mimer, once again, going to fall back to his Dr. Mundo. Is going to take the teleport most likely, and he had a very big impact in the previous game. His teleports were not necessarily frequent, but the 4 times he did use them led to ganks, led to dragons, led to objective control. So if you're doing that 2, 3, 4 times a game, that's what helps you win.
Oh, we just went in for the first choices. And Meteor Makers, this is the biggest picks and bans of their lives, because they lose this game, they are backing towards the Coke Challenger Series, and the League of Legends Championship Series is where they want to be in the big time. Can they make it? That's the question, though, because they managed to win game 1 before. They have come back from a 2-0, by the way. Let's not forget that in the summer promotion series last year in 2013. Of course, this is 2014 now, and SUPA HOT CREW, the team to beat.
So the thing that is interesting to see now is that swapping over to the Thresh does 2 things here for Meteor Makers. First of all, Libic played only Annie and Thresh in his 4 games at the first Spring promotion. He's playing Thresh once again. He's taking that away from migxa, as well as playing a very comfortable champion. So that's going to play into his favor. Mokatte on Vi is going to be interesting. He played Evelyn. 3 games he played Lee Sin at Spring promotion. Didn't work out too much in his favor. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have a Samurai locked in. Yasuo is available, and he has been picked.
Yeah, also, obviously, Vi being picked up and taken away, so a lot of changes coming out here. Makler, he's going to be returning to one of his old favorites, and that is Caitlyn. This is one I'm excited to see. We've already seen some fantastic Caitlyn just this week, of course, in the OGN. We've had the semi-finals in the OGN winter tournament, which obviously means that SKTT1K. Woo! World Champions, that's what you know, Season 3 World Champions, that's all I need to say, are up against Samsung Ozone. And if you caught any of those games, you would have seen some fantastic Caitlyn play in those matches from Imp, I believe it was.
Now, we'll have to see how this works out, because the Caitlyn pickup here makes me think that a 2v1 setup is quite possible and likely. A Thresh Caitlyn can push towers down very quickly, and a Dr. Mundo, who's a little more difficult at wave clearing under the tower, can definitely struggle a little bit against that. And we'll see who Meteor Makers lock in as their final top laner. Shyvana is still available. They could go for it, and Shyvana's knockup would also allow Yasuo to dive onto the enemy champions. This should be a Yasuo in the middle. Most of the players in the pro scene are playing him mid as a very damage-heavy champion. He plays out very similarly to Master Yi. And if Czaru goes for Orianna, then he's going to be top lane, who we also know Darian's been playing him top.
Could be Orianna. Yes, it will be. So it will be top lane Kubon. We'll see how that works out. He is up against Mundo. It's a fight I'm interested to see, because it's a fight I'm expecting to see next week.
So there's a lot more early damage that'll come out of Yasuo in the early stages of the game. So I think at the very low levels, Yasuo should have the advantage. But once Dr. Mundo gets himself like a Sunfire Cape, that he can tank some of the physical damage as well as just regen through, I think the DPS of Yasuo is not necessarily going to be high enough to break Dr. Mundo. But we'll see how well it works out. With that Yasuo there, I'm expecting him to roam. I think he has great gank power and synergy with Vi, moving to other lanes trying to set up kills, and I'm hoping that's what Kubon does.
As you can see on the screen, lots of messages from lots of people for a quick shot down the bottom there. This is not something you normally see, of course, because we are doing a very bare-bones setup here, and obviously, which is why you don't see our beautiful faces down the bottom of your screen. Some may argue it's not a pretty sight all the time, and I will also point out, obviously, QuickShot is doing the camera work today. Of course, there is a rally right now to get QuickShot to do all the camera work during the LCS, as well as including the TV cameras, so he's going to be a very busy boy in 2014.
Don't make people quit watching because my camera work is terrible. But yes, I am running the camera. It is significantly harder than initially anticipated. Listening to everything D-Man says, trying to think about it and say it, but I'm making excuses and it's not important. What is important, the Xin Zhao that's been locked in here as well. I think this is a great pickup for Impaler because it fills a very similar role to the Vi. It's very gank heavy, it's dive, 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 it's get in your face. And we've got a very similar composition. What I like about migxa's picking up the Zyra If the Vi and the Yasuo dive onto you, you can then throw down Stranglethorns, put Zyra's ultimate down, knock up the rest of migxa, and you've got great disengage and a great way to buy time and zone control for these later team fights. And we know how good SUPA HOT CREW at picking their team fights correctly.
Absolutely. If you've missed the first game, then, well, it was a pretty dominant performance, despite, I do recall at one point, migxa having a strong lane phase. They were winning out the lane. They were winning out the farm. But when it came to the ganks, when it came to the fights, and really the tactical positioning, if you think of that first dragon the SUPA HOT CREW picked up, they noticed Mokatte going towards the top lane, quickly went straight round, quick, decisive action from SUPA HOT CREW, and that's something migxa need to react to as a team that's potentially splintered. I mean, this is a lineup that's been around for the longest in the history of League of Legends, actually, I should point out, because, you know, 1,000+ days these guys have been playing together before. But as it is, Czaru could be replaced after this match.
I actually distinctly remember seeing a post on the migxa's Facebook page saying that Czaru took a vacation, which he cancelled to come and play this, after 1,110 days of playing League of Legends. So non-stop since the beginning.
It's not bad.
Been there. I mean, it's a pretty good record.
I think he deserved his holiday, maybe.
And I think what he has done is he's decided that after all that, he's gone back to teleport. MrRalleZ should be able to get away. I don't think migxa's seen him. And just getting back to that very quickly, teleport on Czaru, teleport Orianna. So that laning phase could be distinctly different. What helped MYM pick up wins during the summer split was teleport ganks mostly to the duo lane. So this is where we need to keep our eyes open, and this is where I need to keep my eye on the minimap, if that's at all possible.
So, again, migxa are on the invade. You can see the 5 members down that bottom half, but again, it seems SUPA HOT CREW countering it, knowing that this is coming. Looks like they're going to go for the red-to-red exchange, well, this time around. It looks like Impaler is ready to move in there. He's got the help with Mimer, so 2 members on the invade as opposed to migxa with the 5. Once again, Kubon is going to back off. He's going to be heading towards that top lane, so it will be in that top. So we will have standard lane meta, top v top, duo lanes against each other. We'll see how it develops.
I want to keep my eyes on this Yasuo matchup because this is the first time we are seeing Yasuo in competitive play. And hopefully, we can explain some of his abilities. He is an incredibly technical champion that can do a lot of very cool things. So we'll see them as and when they happen. Right now, no invade from the rest of MYM. They finally start moving at 1 minute 51 on the clock. They are going to steal this red buff away. Completely uncontested. However, a very, very good ward placement here from SUPA HOT CREW is going to give them all the information they need. They've also got a ward sitting on the opponent's red buff. So SUPA HOT CREW will be able to invade and challenge for that one, knowing full well where everybody is.
Yeah, we should point out, obviously, migxa, for the fact that they have picked up that Yasuo, there's a good reason they've gone with Libic on Thresh. They've gone with Assault and Battery Mokatte. That's 3 skills being available. Look, obviously, Kubon's got his own skill of doing the knockups. The Steel Tempest, of course, being the knockup that Kubon has, that obviously allows Yasuo to do his ultimate. He can only use that ultimate on someone who is in the air. If you've not played him, I honestly recommend you give it a try. He's a very fun champion to play. Impaler, though, has gone for that invade. You can see it right here, but he's getting countered. Mokatte comes around. I'm not sure if they've got knock-up damage on towards him. They do knock him up, though. 3 talent strike working well. Forces the flash out. Now they're going to go towards Kubon. Moopz is going to try and get the belly slam in. Flashes again. That's 2 flashes burnt from migxa.
Very good reactionary play there from migxa to actually try to challenge the invade, but it was read and it was predicted by the SUPA HOT CREW. They had more numbers closer together and they were able to not only force the flashes away, steal the red buff. It's not over.
It's not over yet. He walks straight to the barrel. He gets the ignite down. Is that going to be enough damage? That's the question. I don't think it will be enough. He's got the health pot running, but they're not going to let him back off. You've seen another barrel coming in. Can he predict this barrel at the right time? Flashes in now. Tries to belly slam. Use the dash away and dodges out of the barrel. Great stuff there. And now Moopz is actually taking a lot of damage.
That was a bit of confidence there from Moopz. He used his flash, he used his ignite. He's lost a lot of CS and farming time to Czaru in the mid lane, so it may have put him further back than he was hoping for, but they do slow down Mokatte. Still only level 2. He's got his hands on 1 red buff that he was stolen, that he stole from the SUPA HOT CREW, and it just means that his early game is going to be hindered. So you've lost some CS from your mid lane in trade for your jungle.
We'll see how that develops as the game moves on. Down this bottom lane, we can see MrRalleZ once again on Lucian. He did a fantastic job in game 1, went about 12-0-6, I think it was, towards the end there. My memory may be lapsing a little bit there, but Makler putting the pressure on this time around, 22 CS to 8.
Yeah, MrRalleZ and migxa falling way behind in terms of the CS numbers, and this has a lot to do with the threat of Libic's Thresh. He is much scarier at levels 1 and 2 with a hook and a flay that can cost you a death. Hook goes out, as you see, and migxa simply can't get involved. You know, a grasping roots and an auto attack, that's nowhere near as scary. So because of that presence, Makler has stamped an authoritative control on this lane right now.
Great pressure from Makler there as well. Managed to land that headshot, keeping him at bay. Kubon in the top lane. Well, he's getting caught out. Another 3-time strike, bouncing Kubon in the air. Unfortunately for him, Mimer's not in there. He has flashed through though. That's going to land the chopper. The burnout running. That is first blood for Mimer.
Once again, first blood picked up by the side of SUPA HOT CREW. They managed to, you know, re-gank a lane. No, oh, they've caught migxa.
Call migxa down the bottom. He's had to flash away from this one again, but they have the support of the jungler. Will they try and dive? I don't think they will. I think they're safe just to find this one out. They knew that MrRalleZ was coming back.
They got the flash, which is very important. So now if they redo that in a couple of minutes' time, migxa could fall victim. And I think one of the things that I wanted to touch on there with Kubon up in the top lane, he was low on mana. They knew he had no flash, and Libic with another hook. That's, I think, 3 or 4 consecutive hooks that we've seen him landing, and just doing very, very well with Thresh. It is a comfort pick for him. It is somebody he knows how to play, and he's making it work right now.
Making it work. We do see Makler heading off as well. He's going to go get himself some items. We'll see what it is. He managed to get a giant CS lead built up there. Whether he'll just go for a second Doran's Blade or whether he'll go towards that item, it will be the Vampiric Scepter. So he's building up towards that Bloodthirster very early on here. Meanwhile, the top lane, well, we can see it's a bit of a distance building up here. Yasuo trying to catch up. Of course, Kubon did get killed early on. 28 to 14 CS behind, though.
So I just want to touch on 2 things that you've just noticed. The 2 abilities that Yasuo is using in the last few seconds is Q, the Steel Tempest. It's something that it charges up. It deals damage in a line straight in front of him. He just used it there. And if he casts it 3 consecutive times, the 3rd time will send out a skill shot whirlwind that acts very much like Howling Gale, knocks champions up into the air. So that's how one of his knockups comes from. The second one is his dash. You'll see him throwing himself through minions. He can hit 1 minion or any target once every 10 seconds, and he should be using it up shortly.
Yeah, there is the whirlwind. You can see that little sign, that little graphic hovering around him, easy to spot. There is the dash as well. We'll see how this progresses because they're going to be building very differently. Kubon's going to be going full-on nuke, expecting to go explosive. Mimer getting caught on by Mokatte. Wasn't too worried about that one. Has got himself that chain vest already, along with the Doran's Blade and Doran's Shield.
It was just a little love tap. I think that was just a little love tap by Mokatte saying, I am here, I'm showing my presence, I want you to be aware I'm ganking all lanes. Because remember, Mokatte was bottom lane not 2 minutes ago. So what this does in the minds of SUPA HOT CREW is they need to be a little bit more present and need to be cognizant of the fact that Mokatte is playing a very gank-heavy jungler. But it doesn't really mean anything because until Vi hits level 6, she's not an immense amount of threat. So it's not something that SUPA HOT CREW are too worried about in these early stages.
But what I am worried about, certainly for SUPA HOT CREW this time around, is the pressure that Makers have in this bottom lane. Look at this, 49 CS to 27, a giant lead being built up by Makler here.
And if he continues to keep control, this is going to make Lucian's life much more difficult in this mid game. And part of the reason for picking the Caitlyn is for the immense range that she offers. You can sit far away from Xin Zhao, you can sit further back from the Gragas barrels, and it's a lot of a safety pick there. We'll see how this works out as you see Mokatte once again hanging around in the bottom as they've caught Czaru out.
Well, they've kind of helped him away from the tower there, I feel, just throwing the barrel out. Not a great deal of damage behind that barrel just yet, but it's enough. Looking down the bottom lane, though, they're going aggressive. They're going to use the culling on towards Makler. Meanwhile, the supports are going back and forth. Actually, a lot of damage. Makler having to 90 caliber net away from this one. Is it going to be enough? MrRalleZ is not going to pursue. Libic doing a great job of defending.
Yeah, Makler took way too much damage too early. From the looks of things, got caught out by that grasping roots, and once he was locked in place, was unable to get away from the damage of Lucian. Working their way up towards those ultimates right now, but still a very big CS advantage for Makler. Could still be in trouble. The one thing is, in this top lane, CS advantage in favor of Mimer, and Kubon hasn't even hit level 6 yet. He's a full level and a half behind his lane opposition.
Something as we do look at this top lane, we see with Yasuo, we should mention the wind wall he has. That could actually be a pretty big deal when those explosive cascades get thrown out later, if he can land it. And that is a really tough skill shot to land at the right time.
Yeah, of course, that wind wall will block any and all projectiles with the exception of turret shots. They will be blocked, they'll be disintegrated, will not have an effect. And I think that's it right there. So no cleavers will go through, no barrels will go through, no auto attacks will go through. But a very smart pickup from SUPA HOT CREW. They lock in Xin Zhao, who has no projectiles. he'll just launch himself in through the wall. Of course, it's not going to prevent the champion going through it, and that's a very smart pickup, I think. Potentially reactionary. I can't remember at what point they picked him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that farm turns out as well. All down the bottom there. Stranglethorn's getting thrown down. Libic will get bounced up, but there's no damage coming out. Teleport now coming in as well. That's going to be mid lane. Czaru getting in the way. He hasn't got Shockwave available. Yes, he does. I tell a lie. Didn't even bother using it. Didn't care, frankly, because it doesn't matter. Makler picks up the kill. They're all very low, though. We do see the jungler coming in. Impaler's take a look in there.
Oh.
MrRalleZ comes in, gets a snipe on towards Makler.
Brilliant, brilliant play from MrRalleZ. Makler was hanging around for far longer than he should have. He simply needed to back away at low HP. Not over yet, as it does look like the rest of SUPA HOT CREW want to continue the invade. They've lost a kill. And obviously they're not going to be able to pick up any more kills of their own, but they does look like he want to challenge for blue buff. Smite is up for Mokatte if he wants to go in for it.
Yeah, he can maybe have to force Impaler to use it. Instead, he does take it down anyway, regardless. Quite happily securing that one. That means the blue buff will be stolen away. So despite the fact Mimer's had a great start in this bottom lane, it has all just backfired because look at the CS. 61 to 62. Immediately pulled that massive 20 CS lead back. Meanwhile, the bottom, the top lane, sorry, you do see Kubon going aggressive. Mimer having to use that ultimate. The regen, of course, will be strong, but that was already a scary sign for Mimer in the top lane.
Yeah, Kubon blew everything there. Used his ultimate, used the ignite, and got Mimer very low, but was unable to pick up the kill. So that is very crucial. Right now, though, Kubon's got lane presence and lane control, as Impaler was looking like he wanted to set something up, decides against it at the end of the day. And I think part of the reason that the bottom lane has swung now back in favor of MrRalleZ is that Makler was forced very, very low a few minutes ago. He's on low HP, and he decided to stick around. He didn't back away, heal up, and try to get that lane dominance again. So all of the pressure that he'd built up, all of the control that he'd earned in the opening minutes had basically been mitigated by that immense amount of damage he took.
Kubon not quite judging the damage he did there. Missing the main CS, which was the Siege minion. So missing a big chunk of gold there. 2 minions, actually. It was about 70 gold, just missed by not quite judging the damage he was doing out yet. As you can see, he's gone for that average blade early on, so he is going to be building up towards the static shiv, I would suspect, first off for him. As it stands, though, down this bottom lane, look at this. The BF sword was picked up now by MrRalleZ, who's doing a fantastic job of bringing himself back into it, along with that long sword. Meanwhile, Berserker Greaves were picked up. Makler realizing he's going to start needing some ability to get away from MrRalleZ because, well, as you saw in the last fight, he just got dived and sniped.
And very importantly, to dodge the skill shots of Zyra. If he gets caught up by any of those routes, Lucian has got a lot of early game damage, and his skills scale of bonus AD very, very well. So with those double Dorans and the BF sword, if Makler's held in place by any of those routes, Lucian's just going to hammer away and melt that HP of Makler's Caitlyn.
Czaru's actually got himself a little lead in this mid lane. That's because Moopz was going wandering, but at one point, Moopz was quite far ahead, so Czaru's done a good job of bringing him back in there. Both of them have had a little time of wandering. Of course, Czaru did teleport down that bottom lane earlier on, but we do see it's still fairly even between those two. I think we're going to see them coming into the game a little later on than normal.
Well, you know, the thing with a Czaru is he's going to be happy staying in lane. Oh, they've caught migxa.
They've caught migxa. They've thrown the box down. Mixa's not going to get out of this one. He will get taken out there, but Mokatte's in trouble. They're going to try and close that gap. Impaler goes diving in. Has to flash away. The culling coming out. Is he going to have enough? Yes, he will. MrRalleZ gets in there. That red buff, of course, doing work.
And, of course, now he manages to get himself that red to control. Now they've caught up Moopz.
Moopz tries to throw out the barrel. Czaru quickly pulls the defensive ball there onto himself, and that means the pressure now from SUPA HOT CREW is going to be on this bottom turret.
Yeah, they've got a lot of damage they can put down. With the kill that MrRalleZ picked up, he actually took the red buff away from Mokatte. So not only was he a tiny bit behind this lane, this red buff plus the massive damage he's got from the BF sword is going to allow him to even that up and take control. Kubon and Mimer going head to head. Kubon's got his ulti.
Kubon's trying to go into it, knock something towards Mimer, but the Burning Agony is doing the damage right now. One more chopper should be out of land. It will be the Infected Blade. Will it get in there? Does manage to land it. There it is. And it's Mimer that wins out.
Yeah, Kubon just getting caught out, underestimating the power of the Sadism ultimate from Dr. Mundo. Ignite was not available there, and Kubon picked a fight, picked a battle without having that health regeneration cancellation of Ignite, and ends up costing him 0-2 in that top lane.
Yeah, so Sunfire Cape picked up by Mimer. Oh, it's going to be migxa actually getting caught out. Another great lantern pulling him in there. migxa will go down here. The plant being popped off. He won't get anything from the passive there. And that was another easy pickup for MrRalleZ.
They need to get Dragon now. Knowing that the support is down, knowing that, you know, MrRalleZ was late, they've started Dragon off, but this was a very uncommitted Dragon. They dilly-danned around. There's a teleport coming in from Mimer in the top, and SHC want a challenge.
Impaler's going to go in, but he doesn't have Smite available, but instead it's Moopz that picks it up unbelievably. Mokatte did have Smite, and now he's actually going to get picked off. He will go down. Mimer's going to come in to help out. Moopz picks up the kill.
Moopz secures that with the explosive cast barrel combination. Finishing big objectives like that against a Gragas is always difficult because of the immense burst that he can put down. And SUPA HOT CREW, not even afraid that they were undermanned, they went straight in, challenged immediately. And you've seen as well, Mokatte, I think he smited, he didn't even have it available for Dragon actually. I didn't see how it started.
No, Mokatte had it, but Impaler didn't. So Impaler came in to do that.
And now MrRalleZ is in trouble.
Teleport coming down, MrRalleZ is indeed in trouble, but actually Czaru, no, doesn't catch it, misses the shockwave, and now Limic's going to get taken down. MrRalleZ may well die in the process, and that's going to be the ace in the hole. That will get picked up. It is going to be Makler that takes it, but Czaru, oh, that shockwave cost your support a life.
Completely, and I think very good reaction timing from MrRalleZ there. Whether it was the dash to dodge the shockwave, or if that's what he was doing anyway, it worked out perfectly for him. The second time that we've seen Czaru using that teleport, and the second time, the first gank had no shockwave in it, second time, it missed. But nevertheless, Makler was the one that gets a kill credit. He now takes that red buff away from MrRalleZ, and with his BF sword and Vamp Scepter, maybe can make that do work. Catch up the kill deficit that his opponent now has, and maybe also finish off that Bloodthirster in the not too distant future.
Makler must be kicking himself right now. It's such a fantastic start in this bottom lane to be this far behind, honestly. The fact that he was 20 CS plus ahead so early on. He's equal in CS now. He's behind in gold. You can see a 200 gold deficit. That's such a big turnaround so quickly. And all credit to MrRalleZ and migxa for really just being... What's the word I'm after here? I always fall on this one.
Defensive? Reactionary? I'm not sure.
Defensive,
I can't think.
Possibly. Disciplined enough to stick around. That's the one. Why do we always forget that word?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll try to remember it for next time.
Yeah, thanks.
The one thing that is very impressive as well is this is a lane matchup that heavily favors migxa. Caitlyn Thresh is always going to bully a Lucian Zyra. The range and the kill threat that Thresh offers. But now we're getting later and later into the game. The utility that Zyra's going to offer, plus the big damage that Lucian's now hitting, is actually going to swing this lane to be a little bit more even, and maybe even in favor of SUPA HOT CREW. So the onus is now on migxa to not get caught out at all.
Red buff, we do see Mokatte having a little standoff here with Impaler. Impaler's going to come straight into the bush. Mokatte's waiting. There's the barrel start. He knew that somewhere he was coming. It's Impaler that goes in. A lot of damage getting straight in there because you immediately see once that wind wall was thrown out there, sorry, it was Kubon jumped straight on towards him, but Kubon's in trouble. He doesn't want to chase out, throws out the wind wall saying, no, not having any of those choppers coming back at me. Let's run for your life. Moopz is the man, though. They could try and lock out here, but instead he's actually going to dash right down. There's no tower to worry about there. He's in a straight 1v1 with Czaru. Czaru, who does have shockwave available, he's not going to land it again.
Manages to get the flash out of Moopz, though. The simple threat that Czaru was chasing him, and chasing him so confidently, means that Moopz needed to force that flash to get out safely. Mokatte, with a good read there, realizing SUPA HOT CREW are going to challenge this red buff. They set up, got a kill, and now Mokatte's in trouble.
Mokatte should be able to dash away from this one. He does. No chopper's going to land on towards him. Let's have a look down this bottom lane. We see Czaru sneaking in there, but he's going to sneak straight into a ward. And that is going to give SUPA HOT CREW the warning, but migxa's already been pulled in. You can see the tag ball will come in there. Stranglethorn's being thrown out, but migxa's in all sorts of trouble. Ace in the hole will come out now. Now MrRalleZ is going to be the focus target. He's still keeping them at bay. Not too worried. He's got the support of Moopz coming down, but instead he's going to clear the wave.
The amount of damage that Makler took there when they were trying to focus the support, once again, forces him out of the fight, forces him back. Yes, migxa's got a kill, and yes, that is a very good play for them. But there was no shockwave use. I think Czaru is playing very hesitant on his shockwave, and that could come to bite them. You know, if he hesitates in a key dragon fight in about 2 minutes' time, that could be very difficult for them.
Impaler, of course, has the timing on the blue buff, and we already see Moopz and Impaler was sniffing around there. They know that it will be up in a few moments, so that's why they're getting ready. Instead, they choose to push on towards his bottom turret. Why not get a 2-for-1 deal while you're there? And that is going to be the turret picked up. Blue buff should be available shortly. They're going to back away from it. They realize MYM have all managed to come back down there.
Yeah, it's still a minute and a half before that dragon comes up, and the thing that's very important to note is just how good the vision is for the SUPA HOT CREW there. They've got a big ring of wards in and around that area of the map, and they're going to be fully aware when migxa are coming in to challenge for Dragon. Alternatively, it's going to allow them to pick it up very safely. So I really, really like that decision-making from Super Hot Crew. And of course, like you said, because they had the vision, because they had the numbers, it just allowed them to pick up their third outer tower completely uncontested.
migxa gathering in the mid lane now. They're maybe going to try and shove down as quick as they can on towards that bottom turret. They realize that everybody are backed away. You can see they're putting the pressure down, but again, Makler not really with them, so they haven't got the pressure to get on that turret. They have lost it themselves, of course. It's 3-0 in turrets. That's a pretty big lead for Super Hot Crew already. You
know, I talked about it in Champ Select, and I felt that if migxa had gone for the 2v1 setup and had put the Caitlyn Thresh against Dr. Mundo, it would have allowed them to, you know, maybe fast push the towers, maybe rotate a little quicker, and play the objective game, which I think their composition would do very, very well. On the same token, I think, you know, Yasuo maybe not necessarily the strongest in a 1v2. He's got a little bit of range. He does have some defense against poke, and he's not mana related, so that wind wall could definitely be used to help keep him safe. So I feel like maybe MYM not making the best decisions in the early game, and it hasn't necessarily worked out for them right now.
So Dragon up in 12 seconds. We do see Mundo. He's up on the top, but he has got teleport available. It is migxa in full position, but Super Hot Crew, they're already closing the net on this one.
Oh, they're going to catch migxa here completely.
Oh, flash away there. Mokatte trying to dive in towards him. He's going to pull that flash away. He's not going to be available. The culling coming out. That's going to start barraging a little bit of damage on towards them. migxa going and Mimer going straight in. The explosive cast being thrown out the side there. Stranglethorns will pull them out. Starts a battery on towards MrRalleZ, but it's not going to be enough. MrRalleZ tries to turn this one around. Doesn't quite get the kill. Meanwhile, Mimer does take down the top lane of Kubon. Now he's going to go on towards Makler. Makler dodging away from that flame black cleaver of him towards him. Not going to land it again. Barrel does land this time though. Mimer picks up the kill with the burning agony.
2 for 1 at the end of that. Super Hot Crew with a very good surround. Teleport from Mimer closes off any escape to the north from migxa, and having migxa coming up from the south, it allowed the Stranglethorns and the Grasping Roots to prevent migxa go anywhere but through very tight channels. So a good fight, only losing one member of their team, securing the Dragon as well, and that's going to allow Super Hot Crew a 6,000 gold lead right now.
And we should mention it's so very rare that those pincer moves actually work like that. I think it was more about the culling, forcing them out, catching all 4 members. They were like, oh, panic, we got to get out of this damage, realizing the situation.
On top of that, migxa hesitating again.
Yes.
migxa seeing that they were getting encroached by the pincer. And the reason I really dislike those pincer moves, the 3-2 approaches, because if you approach a team that is, you know, grouped up as a 5-man, they are going to be able to just pull the trigger, Assault and Battery plus Shockwave on 1 or 2 of your members. And if they manage to pop that person instantly, it's now a 5v4, which is nearly impossible to win. And I think migxa, they didn't do that. They didn't instantly react to the pincer, and that's why they got pushed out and pushed away. Fear, hesitation, nervousness, any of those things could have been the cause. And at the end of the day, Super Hot Crew just extend their lead.
Yeah, and let's not forget the explosive cast that I think blew 3 of them in towards the blue buff area, so effectively it made their 5-man group a 2-man group. And quickly turned it around. So mid lane's going to be the pressure though. migxa want to try and drive in. Shockwave comes out. They do catch on towards Impaler. I had no idea that Kubon could use his ultimate after a shockwave, but it seems that they can. It does mean that the tower's going to go down, or is it? Because Kubon's getting destroyed. He takes the lantern though from Living. Meanwhile, he can see coming in the top Mimer. Can he catch on towards them? That chopper's going to be the easiest one to land. He's going to get the burning agony on towards Living. Living getting separated there. We see MrRalleZ chasing on towards Czaru. Czaru forced away from this one. They have separated one, but they're not going to get the kill. Can they go for the inner turret? They're going to go towards Kubon. Kubon, they realize who by a ward, they will not get the kill again.
They won't get the kill, but now they've got positioning here on the tower. I'm sitting with them, and all of that attack damage coming out of MrRalleZ. This should be another tower for them. The 4th of the game. And Super Hot Crew with a great reaction. Keep in mind, Impaler didn't even go down. After being hit by all of those ultimates underneath the tower, he did not get taken out by the migxa's burst. And unfortunately for migxa, they've now lost another tower. They've lost themselves a red buff, and it looks like the rest of Super Hot Crew, they're not done yet.
They're not done yet. They're going to rotate round. They're going to go towards this top inner turret. migxa are there, though, in full 5-man defense. They're coming around the side. Mimer getting caught out, getting hooked in, but is he tanky enough? The box catching him out there. The rest of the team do come around just the side there, and well, he answers the question. He is tanky enough. He even took the ace in the hole. It didn't get blocked off. It still hits him because he's 4-0. He's got the Ranians. He's got the Sunfire Cape and the Ninja Tabi. he is a big Mr. Mondo once again.
Yeah, once again, all of the physical damage coming out of migxa means his itemization is fairly simple. There's not enough burst from Czaru. You see, look at the pincer movement from SUPA HOT CREW. There's no Stranglethorn, so a tower dive is a lot more difficult without migxa's CC potential. However, the Grasping Roots plus a barrel is there, so we want to keep our eyes on Moopz's explosive casks.
Look at the health of Mimer already. That ultimate just giving them all the regen. They've locked in. They've got MrRalleZ down. That's the AD carry. Makler manages to pick up the kill, but everybody else from MrRalleZ is so low on health right now. Impaler comes in, gets one, gets two. Can he clean up here? Livik in trouble. That's good. Burning Agony will take him down. Mimer's gets another. Impaler gets a triple kill. Now they're going towards Mokatte. The Ignite's going to be it before he gets to the fountain. That is the ace for the SUPA HOT CREW.
And they only lost MrRalleZ. That was migxa diving onto MrRalleZ, picking the fight, picking the engagement, and SUPA HOT CREW just reacted with perfection. They dispersed all of the migxa members thanks to the Gragas ultimate, and the chase potential of that Xin Zhao and Dr. Mundo was too much for migxa to handle. They are now like 10,000 gold down, 5 towers to 1. And yes, MYM, they got a kill, but at what cost? That's the question.
And all of that without the AD carry, because he went down right at the start of the fight. Currently, the SUPA HOT CREW are looking a shoe-in almost for the LCS spot, which of course will be beginning in just 3 days' time. Tuesday will be the start, 7 p.m. Central European time. That is, I should add. I think that's 8 a.m. Pacific. I may be wrong on that one. I can't quite add the math and do deletions.
Actually, I think it's 10 a.m. because it should be 9 hours ahead.
So that's a nice, easy start for the Americans as well.
Enough.
So there's no excuse, basically, to miss the action when it begins over here in Germany. Right now, though, SUPA HOT CREW, could they be facing off against Roccat in their first game of the LCS? Currently, seems like they might be.
I'm just going to say yes. To answer the question, it doesn't look like there's a lot migxa can do to come back from this one. They have just picked up their second tower of the game. Yasuo is miles away as the rest of SUPA HOT CREW are going to pick up an uncontested Baron. migxa don't even know this is happening. Nobody is moving towards the Baron. They've got no vision in the area. And this is just all too easy for SUPA HOT CREW. One of the strengths we've seen from this team is their decision-making in this mid-game. The way they roam to objectives and the way they play the control over those objectives, and they've got absolutely locked it down.
And 4 members went down there. They're trying to get the dragon, trying to get anything from it, but they're a full 50 seconds off. Meanwhile, SUPA HOT CREW, who knew the timers, have got the Baron. Now they're rolling on down there. They've already got the full advantage. They're sweeping lenses, clearing out all the wards. They have everything on lockdown right now. This is desperate, desperate trouble, desperate times. And again, nothing that migxa can do about it.
Well, Moopz is coming in from the side, and with Mimer getting closer and closer to the action, this could be the start of a fight. If migxa start this one, this is against a Baron up team. They know no. Mimer's not there, they've gone in.
They've gone deep, they've gone for MrRalleZ, and it's not worked out. Stranglethorns bounces in there, and look at migxa, they're also low on health, and in comes that big Dr. Mundo, ripping through them. Makler in trouble, he gets caught out. That is 4 for 0, and well, it's a teleport coming in, he's going straight for the inhibitor turret.
Now, not only, is it a surrender?
It's a surrender!
Camera's gone!
That is it, migxa. They knew it was their last-ditch effort. They are going to be, unfortunately for them, in the Coke Challenger Series, which is not a bad thing at the end of the day, but it was all about that League of Legends Championship Series spot, and the SUPA HOT CREW are in.
They are the 8th and final European team that will be playing on Tuesday once we kick off the 2014 season. And I tell you what, it was a dominant start to this series, to these games. They played well against SK. I said at the beginning, they were arguably the best performing amateur team next to Copenhagen Wolves. And they're going to have a chance to prove how they can play at the top level.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. I'll be surprised if they don't get picked up by an organization. It's a very, very short period of time, though, as they move, 3 days into the LCS. These guys, they're all sat at home right now. They're all sat online. They've just played and gone, Mom, Dad,
I'm a pro player.
I need to be in Germany on Tuesday because I now have to play in this LCS Pro Series for the next few months.
Well, as long as they file their paperwork correctly, everything should be in order for the final team here. And you know what? I'm very impressed to see them. I think the only weakness that the SUPA HOT crew has right now is a little bit in the laning phase. They do tend to fall a tiny bit behind. However, this MrRalleZ migxa combo in both games showed an ability to pick up kills in game 1 and bounce back. They were 20 CS down with that Lucian Zyra, and they bounced back to such a dominant position. So I'm very excited to see how they play and how they adapt to the LCS. And as we said, they will be playing KMT is their first game on Tuesday in the 2014 LCS.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the team. Of course, Impaler, he's still a Dignitas UK player. So how that's going to work out, there's transfers to go on as well in that team. You know, we talked about it during the promotion series. Moopz coming in. MrRalleZ, what a fantastic pickup he was.
Yeah.
4-2-2 in game 2. I think it was like 12-0-6 in game 1. Amazing pickup for them as well. migxa alongside him. They seem to have great synergy already. And Mimer, well, he's already played in the LCS, but what a fantastic Mundo performance. Did not die in both games.
Dr. Mundo Flash Teleport definitely seems to play to his style. And as long as he can keep that up with the tanky top meta that we currently find ourselves in, I think he's in a very, very good situation. And, you know, Mimer back in the LCS, he had a small stint with the Ninjas in Pyjamas during the summer split. Not necessarily the most successful, but I think now in a more comfortable team, he's going to be able to flourish and grow and come into his own, make a name for himself once we kick off the season on Tuesday.
Yeah, and what a fantastic season it could be. So, we are done for today. That is it. We see SUPA HOT crew in the LCS. We will be back, ladies and gentlemen, in just 3 days' time. Ironically, at this time right now, because it's just gone 7 o'clock here in Germany, which will be when the LCS kicks off on Tuesday, I should say. I'm talking rubbish right now. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central European time. That's when you want to be tuning in, because that's when Fnatic will be facing off against Gambit to start an amazing LCS season.
And I definitely think you do not want to miss it. 16 games will follow. And of course, we now know all 8 of our teams. SUPA HOT crew, congratulations once again. Welcome to the League of Legends Championship Series.
Absolutely. Without further ado, let's get things underway and take a break and go off into the ether, because we will be back on Tuesday. It's been an interesting, emotional day, let's put it that way. It's been an interesting last 3 days. I think everybody that's been following the commotion, the Drama is the only really word for it. Has been just intertwined in what is the action's going to happen. Anyway, I'm talking rubbish, guys. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll see you then.